customer service, done right, can be your company's single biggest competitive advantage. Welcome to the Customer Service Revolution. Join customer service authority and best-selling author John DiJulius as he interviews leaders who are revolutionizing their industries. This is more than a podcast, though. It's a movement. The Customer Service Revolution is a radical overthrow of conventional business mentality designed to transform what customers and employees experience. If you're a revolutionary customer service leader who's ready to stop competing on price and obsessed with building a brand that people cannot live without, this podcast is for you.
People don't come out of college with a CXO degree. That's why the Customer Experience Executive Academy was created. When you're tasked with designing, leading, and managing the customer's experience, there's a lot at stake. We know you want to make a difference in your organization, and we also know how difficult it is to do that when you aren't sure what to tackle first. The Customer Experience Executive Academy gives enrollees the tools to efficiently create an impact as a customer experience leader. Our graduates are taught a simple framework that allows them to create customized solutions within their business. You'll implement systems throughout the year-long program while learning and sharing best practices with your fellow classmates. For details on how you can enroll, contact Claudia at DiJuliusGroup.com or schedule a call at tdg.click/Claudia.
Hello.
Hi.
All right, so we want to put together a new onboarding experience for our new employees. So they come in, say we make this amazing thing, like the other guys, like, can we quit and start over again? How do you not make the current employees feel like crap, because you give this great experience to the new people that walk through the door?
So that's why you got to come back in October when we're talking about after 91 days. I'll answer that. But we got to raise the game for existing employees,
yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Because I will tell you, I hope it's not the case now, but I know it was the case. Mm-hmm. Our new employee orientation was too good. And what I mean by that, hopefully 10, 20 years ago, you'd come, think you got a good job, and then you'd sit in this new employee orientation and you hear about these great stories and how we change lives, and we give these rags to riches story of, the job that you're being hired for, he did 15 years ago, and today he's a VP. Today he has equity, right? And you go home and you're like, oh my God. But then you start next week and the reality doesn't match what we described. So it's really to your point that the morale wasn't with the existing employees. Oh, you must have just, came from a new employee orientation. Yeah, wait, it's not all like that. So we got to work on both, right? And have them go back through it. Have them be part of it. And have them be ambassadors of the culture. But that's why the next section of the book and of my presentation is how do you retain your existing employee rock stars? I call it having a moat, a culture moat with sharks in it that the best offers won't affect them because they just love where they're at. But you got to work on both. We can't just. It's like a new customer, a new client of yours. Oh my God, we do this. But the existing clients, yeah, we'll call them back whenever, right? We got to take care of both. Okay. Hope that helped.
Mm-hmm.
What is your thought on boomerang employees, people who come back?
So I kind of have two thoughts. This is a confession. What I used to do is, listen, boomerang employees are the best because they're the ones that went out there thinking the grass was greener, and they will tell all the employees, it's not. Like, you guys don't know how lucky you have it. And so we'll bring them back if they quit on good terms and all that. And they were good employees. Here's the confession. The ones that weren't great employees to begin with or left on bad terms and didn't handle it well and tried to recruit half of our staff to go with them, we'll still bring them back for the interview. And we'll be a little bit late for that interview, so they have to sit in the back and they kind of have to confess to everyone the same thing. Oh my God, it's no better out there. They won't get hired. But we still want them to do the narrative. Sorry.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, thank you. Very helpful. When you train an employee, how long do you wait to judge whether you're spending too much training versus where is the line between continue to train and then finally decide, no, I hired the wrong person?
So great question. It depends on what type of training, right? I believe, and listen, you guys are more technical, literally, than any of my, hairdressers are technical in that degree. Consultants better know their stuff. But I believe it goes back to hire for the heart, train for the part. I believe we can get you there technically almost anyone. It may take longer than we wanted, but if you don't have the attitude, the positivity, the likability, and those things, and you're not going to be working in a closet by yourself, that's what we move faster on. And hopefully our interview process catches that sooner. But the technical ability, and you guys may cancel this out, and I'll trust you on that, is we can get you there with the training, but we can't change your personality. All the training in the world to get you to love people isn't going to get you to love people if you don't genuinely bring that to the table.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure.
Employee work anniversaries, is there any guidance on celebrating those?
Yeah. And again, that's going to be the next one. But we like to make a big deal. What I do personally on employee anniversaries, I could probably play it the next time. I just did it out in the hallway here, and I actually like to do it on airplanes. And one time I did it literally before I was walking on stage. And again, I'm probably pumping this up, but my employees can't believe. I will send them a video on their anniversary. And again, it might be from a plane, it might be from backstage. It was outside in your sponsor area, and it was, hey, Christy, I just want to congratulate you on 17 years. That's a big number. And it's a 30 to 45 second, how much I appreciate what she's done, what she continues to do, and all that. I get hearts, and their significant other says something, and you would think I sent them $500. So that's one thing. It's based on milestones, and 5 years and 10 years they get different higher level gifts, if you will. But we make it a big deal. We make it a really big deal. But I will tell you, and I got 150 employees, so it feels like it's at least one a day. I know that math isn't right, but it feels like it, right? It's the best investment of 45 seconds I could make with their reaction. They'll tell me, that made me cry or something, and it's cool. And I've actually cried giving it to some people genuinely because of the what they've done and what they mean to me and the company.
So you reflected on onboarding, and of course, you also talked about people that don't belong in the organization, so offboarding, and then just a kind of tips on that, and then part two to that question is, what do you do with the employees after that person's been offboarded? Sometimes there's that camaraderie, and you have to soft land the employees that are left behind, if you will.
Yeah, so I want to make sure I got both the questions. Is how do you offboard?
Correct.
And then how do you handle the people, the survivors?
The survivors
Yeah.
that you shouldn't have let them go.
We really try to give every employee the opportunity. Again, unless they're just rude and lazy and whatever that is. If they're trying, if they're making an effort and they got a good attitude, I mean, it's going to be next to impossible. I was so proud. This is going to sound really weird. I'm not involved in the salons, but I did see in Slack like a year or two ago, Susie Smith, we had to let her go today. And I didn't know who she was, so I was so shocked. We never let anybody go, to a fault. And I respond, who's Susie Smith, and why do we let her go? like she must have done something, really bad. And they said, oh, she was an assistant co-designer thing, and we couldn't get her to smile. That made me so proud. Like I loved that. And trust me, it wasn't like she was only here for an hour.
Right.
I'm sure she was there for a month. But I was so proud that thing. Now, meanwhile, we got people stealing money from our cash register. They could stay here for all they want, but you don't smile, you're freaking out of here, right? But again, that really made me proud that our standard was like that in that business. But we really work with them. It's not like we come in and blindside them and you had no idea. You're going to know if that happens. 9 out of 10 times, 19 out of 20 times, the employees come to us and say, why didn't you do that sooner?
Yeah, it should have happened yesterday.
Yeah. But there is a time when the employees thought that, maybe she was being picked on, set up, and, we do have to, manage that. And find out and go to leaders and say, did we do everything we could have? Was that, bullying or whatever, is being made up? We have had that, and we got to handle it, and we got to address it. And that sometimes I'll get involved because I don't want, I won't overrank anyone, but I do want employees to know that we care about their opinion.
It's also difficult if that person's endeared to the client as well.
Yeah.
And so that's another soft landing that you...
100%.
So this is what prevents people from letting that person go.
Well, so in both our businesses, we have similarities, right? You lose a hairdresser, she's going to take her clients with her.
Right.
So we're like, we know, even though she's a pain in the ass and diva and all those things you want to say about her, we look the other way because we don't want to lose her clientele. But then what we didn't realize is we lost 6 other people in the last, year because they couldn't stand working with her. So we ended up losing the sales with the other people that couldn't work with her. So we had to, same thing with consulting. Like your technicians, clients could go with the consulting, but you just have to draw a line in the sand and know what's best for your culture.
That's right. Swallow hard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you. Yes.
So my question's kind of on a similar vein. What happens when you hire somebody that is putting forth the effort, but they're just competence, you come to a realization that they're not going to be able to hit the standards with competence?
If it's a technical competence, again, we don't, on the soft skill, nice, positive attitude, there's no negotiation for that. Mm-hmm. That'll be cut right away. If it's a technical competence, we are fortunate to have a lot of positions in different companies, and we'll say, hey, I'm not sure this is the right fit for you from a position standpoint. Would you consider working over here or over here? And then they make the choice. And sometimes they'll say, no, I really want to do this. And we'll say, all right, we'll give you more and we'll ramp it up. Usually that doesn't end up working out and they'll leave. If they want to remain in that position, most of them like the company, and we like them, and we reposition them for something else, and they've been with us 10, 15 years, and we're so happy that we're able to recast them somewhere. I got a virtual question. You gain and share incredible, maybe you gave, I hope, and share incredible insight, thank you. What have you recognized about young people that you didn't know a year ago? It's probably the past 3 years, but they are a different breed. They have a different mentality. But I'm sure our parents said that about us, right? Every generation predicts doom and gloom. I mean, think about the 60s, right? What their parents, which may have been our grandparents or whatever, thought about our parents. Like, that had to look like it was going to be, a train wreck. But I will tell you, I love if we have 150, 60 employees in all 3 of our companies, we have close to 100 that are 35 and under. Okay, so Gen Z and millennial, those horrible people that we talk about. Number one, we got to stop criticizing them because we're the one that raised them, right? Number 2, my Gen Zs, and I don't believe we hire better than them, are rock stars. They really are. Like, they crush it. But here's what they're not willing to do. They're not willing to trade hours for dollars. They just aren't. But if you tie their jobs, like Medtronic did, example, to, meaning and purpose, and pay them fairly, they are rock stars. They make my generation look bad. So we got to stop broad stroking and blaming the young generation. And I don't believe any employee owes me anything. I really don't. If they quit tomorrow, I don't think about, you know what? I wrote them a check last year. They needed $5,000. They paid me back, right? But I was there for them. I went to therapy with them. They stayed at my house. They earned what they got. They worked hard for their job. And if they find a better opportunity that they believe tomorrow, I'm not mad. I may be disappointed that we couldn't make it work, but I'm not like, oh my God, after everything I did for them. They have to look out for themselves. They're not screwing me over, right? So I think the young generation are so valuable, and we have to start treating them as such. I'm not sure who's not you. That was good customer service. You both pointed to each other.
In our particular industry, I have a question about process, I guess. So
yep.
Engineer-wise, I'm thinking about my team. If I did some type of socially warm welcome, some of these guys would probably throw up or not want the job. So are you open to like having different style onboardings for different departments, so to speak? Because I can see that front end, but there are people, like you made a comment earlier, oh, unless you're working in a closet. Well, like half my team does. So they may not be interested at all, like socially if we did like a Zoom thing and we put a song on, like I have guys that would turn their camera off and like not come back. So can you speak to that a little bit?
And I love the point you bring up, and you're right. What I'm saying doesn't mean that's law. It applies to the culture you're building and the position. If you are hiring people who you need wicked smart people to do things, but will not, you have to worry about play nice with others, internally and externally, that's fine. I do believe that it all depends on the culture you want to build. I do believe people like to have fun. I think if you're playing a song in Zoom I think it's funny, right? I think it's self-deprecating. I think it's cool. But yeah, they don't have to be saying, certainly my pleasure, absolutely, at your service. Yeah, if that's not ever going to be their position and that's not something you're worried about going externally or internally with each other, yeah. If they're wicked smart, you can certainly, not everything applies to everyone on your team. Thank you for that question.
So
last question, I'm out of time.
Okay. So a scenario for you. So I have an employee, and he was not performing very well, and we were wondering what's going on. One day we come in, he's maybe about 20 minutes into the work day, and he just walks out and kind of ghosted us for like about 3-4 days. Just heard from him, yesterday saying he had some personal issues, some stress at home, had to take care of, business, and, I'm so sorry. And now we're just wondering, like, do we give him an opportunity to hear what's going on and see what's, give him an opportunity because he was not performing very well, but I think maybe he was affected by.
How long has he worked for you?
Well, 3 months.
And during the first 2 months, did he ever demonstrate qualities that you liked?
Yes, but there was an ongoing issue to where ticket management was kind of an issue. It's a little inconsistent.
The way I could answer that based on my experience is if it's a good employee, good attitude, has history of being a good performer, I'm going to give him or her the benefit of doubt and say, is everything okay? I mean, you are normally, crushing it lately, and I'm worried about you, and if there's anything I could do for you. If I don't have that history with him, or he hasn't demonstrated, or she hasn't demonstrated that history, it's going to be probably, I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks for listening in to this episode of the Customer Service Revolution podcast. I'm Denise Thompson, Managing Partner of the DiJulius Group, and I invite you to send us your questions, post a review, and let us know what you liked and want to hear more of. We're happy that you're part of the customer service revolution and encourage you to subscribe now so you don't miss an episode. You'll find us on Spotify, iTunes, or your favorite podcast station.